God, our Father and Mother, it is with gratitude that we come to this place, Pannai College of Pharmacy, to learn for ourselves many things that connected with our service to the people at large, being united with the same objective, that we are grateful to the management, the chairperson, chairman, and the entire institute for welcoming us, and to enter into these proceedings of embellishing each other with the knowledge that we need for the service of the people. We ask your grace and your blessings upon all of us who are jointly involved in building up our country. May our endeavor be ever pleasing to you and bring about the desired good that you intend in and through us. We ask this for you are God forever and ever.
Only every prayer of Father used to elevate me. That feeling I used to get. When a sister or father comes to my house or college, I used to request them to make a small prayer. Once they make that prayer, I get myself totally encouraged right from the beginning. So I thank Father for the good prayer. I request Father Chairperson to light the Kuttulake, then Father Maria Jo, then Treasurer of Chennai Province, Father Inasi. Now I hand over the floor to our Reverend Father Maria Joy.
To this seminar on the recent development in income tax and FCRA. We are grateful to our host and our resource person, CA Dr. M. Karthikeyan, for hosting us and for sharing with us his knowledge. And before we begin, I request Father Maria Jo to introduce to us our resource person and host.
So I am very pleased to introduce our auditor, Dr. Karthikeyan, to you all, who is a well-known person in Dindigul town. He is famous for many things in Dindigul town. Primarily, he is an auditor. He has got his own firm. Not only in Dindigul, it has got branches in Coimbatore and so on. That is why we have invited him, and we invited him to give us a talk, basically as a finance-related person. More than that, Dr. Karthikeyan is a distinguished alumnus of St. Joseph's College, Trichy. That he is very, very loyal to the Jesuits as a Jesuit product. He is very friendly with all of us. He is very proud to say that he is a Jesuit product. And this year, he has become the Vice President of St. Joseph Alumni Association. He is holding a very good post, honorary post. Dr. Karthikeyan is a chairman of Pannai Group of Institutions. As a chairman, he is running several institutions. This is one among the many. On the way, we went, by chance, we also visited your school, sir. We went to the school first and then came here. We visited the school. So then He has got an engineering college in a different place. Like that, he has got several institutions. And next year, he is planning to start a law school. Actually, he is ahead of the Jesuits. We have been thinking about starting a law school in Madurai, but his sir is going to start a law school in Sivagangai. Next year, it is getting ready. He has received several awards. You know, there are so many awards he has received. To name few, this year, Tamil Nadu government, state government awarded him best self-employed person. This is the recent award that he received. He has also written many books to his credit. He has authored many books. So this goes on, the list goes on. So from the list you can see that Dr. Karthikeyan is a very versatile person. He is distinguishing himself in different fields, not only finance, real estate, education institutions, different kinds of activities. And more than that, as a treasurer of Madurai province, being based in Dindigul, whenever I face any issue, difficulty, I call him. And then he always comes out with a solution for any issue that I approach. He is ready to help me and comes out with his own contacts up to Chennai. He is able to do that, and I enjoy that type of relationship with him. Thanks a lot for that relationship of friendship. We are very happy to come to your place, institution, and to listen to you. So these treasurers have come from 18 provinces from all over India, and it is called a Conference of Jesuit Treasurers, COJET. This is the 51st conference we have here, and then we are going to have this meeting for the 3 days. 3 days. We started the meeting yesterday. Today is the second day. Tomorrow is the last day. So we are very happy to come to your place and to listen to you on the topic that is finance-related recent compliances. Finance-related recent compliances. So we are ready to listen to you. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
As I told you in the beginning, in India, but for fathers and sisters, education and health would not have come to this level. That is the open secret. Fathers and sisters only strived their best to bring good education. You take in any place where there is an institution by fathers or sisters, that will be always like a monument, that we can always notice that. Such persons, such fathers have stepped into our institution. It is a great blessing, Father. My respected principal, Dr. Tangam Tirupati, who used to be instrumental in getting everything very well organized. He is not only a principal, good scientist, good teacher, good administrator. My faculty members, I used to tell all my friends, they used to ask me, you are a multifaceted person, how you are able to manage this much as a single man role? I used to tell them, I am surrounded with people who are having more IQ than me, and they are very good leaders, and they are my well-wishers. That is the comment I used to say. My faculty members, my supporting staff, they never think of their time. If at all we want to say that people's mind should be brought to work, we have brought the mind of the administrative staff to the core to deliver their work like anything. My non-teaching staff, at the outset, I would like to proficiently, from the inner recess of the heart, thank Reverend Father Maria Joe for having bestowed me such a golden opportunity to have the fathers in this institution. Actually, my vast talk is about to talk on my journey with fathers and sisters only. That will be the main course. My recent developments on income tax and FCRA will only be a desert. You are all very well versatile fathers who have got enough exposure in the field of finance. You are heading the entire province as a financial head. You know everything. Whenever they ask me how you are motivated to write books, I used to tell them I am half father. That is why I got myself motivated to write motivational books, because I know fathers right from my childhood. They are highly calibered, knowledgeable, very learned. So definitely they will be going through the circulars, acts, articles and everything. They will be proficients, they will be 75% of an auditor. So there is nothing much to be told about the recent development in the income tax and FCRA. But my journey, let it be an example to all the people. I had my stepping into the school, baby class and first standard in St. Joseph's Montessori. That was the only best thing I could have, my baby class and first standard. After that, we shifted to our native place, a small village snuggled in Kodaikanal Hills, Pannaikadu, where I had my elementary school in an union school. Then after that, I went to government school for my high school studies. My father is a great lover and admirer of Jesuit fathers. Since we are in Pannaikadu near Sembag, scholastic fathers, when they come to Kodaikanal, Sembag, they will come to Pannaikadu. For any small helps, they will approach my father. My father used to be very, very good to them. That is why we had that close relationship. Then they built a small church there. Their two sisters got posted. One sister, Hedwig. So as we were so closely associated with fathers and sisters, I used to go to them for my studies. That Reverend Sister Hedwig used to teach me English. ABCD itself will be taught only in our 8th standard or 9th standard in government high school, that too in a hilly place where they will declare holidays if it rains. For winter, they will declare holidays. For small function, they will declare holidays. The school will be in a small veranda. So English will be something different. But sister used to explain me. In 8th standard, there was one lesson called Lal Bahadur Shastri. She only taught me patriot, what is meant by patriot. One lesson called Little Things. I used to quote this even in big places like America, paying more attention on little things. For want of a nail, a shoe was lost. For want of a shoe, a horse was lost. For want of a horse, a soldier was lost. For want of the soldier, a battalion was lost. For want of a battalion, the entire war was lost. This was taught by Reverend Sister Hedwig in a remote place in Kodaikanal Hills. It is evergreen in my mind to say about this in Illinois Institute of Technology, USA. So they gave me this English. Today I am speaking this English means one, that sister who taught me, another, I feel him as a God, Reverend Father Dias. He only got me the admission in St. Joseph's College. I was his student. He was my warden and vice principal. I was a low-scored person in my SSLC. I secured 48%. I was given a berth of admission in St. Joseph's by Reverend Father C.K. Sami, which only laid me the foundation to be successful to this level. I am so proud to say that
In thinking of that gratitude, I have built buildings in the name of our fathers in my engineering college. Father Dias Block, Father Aroki Swami Block, Sister Kamala Block. In this place, I have built a hostel, Sister Agnes Hostel for ladies. I would like to build the boys' hostel in the name of our bishop, because all along they had been in the ladder for my coming up. St. Joseph's is a place which gave me the total exposure. It took me around the world. It taught me everything. It got me the awards and rewards. The best feeling what I got when I got the Best Alumnus Award from St. Joseph's in the 175th year of completion of St. Joseph. That is the thrill which I got, has no comparison. I was honored in the Chicago in the seat of the International President of Lions. That happiness was not in par with the happiness what I got in St. Joseph. Then I switched over to my profession after resigning as a class 1 officer from Government of India organization. When I switched over, I was getting a very good salary. In those days, for engineers, 600 rupees was the basic. For doctors, 750 was the basic. I was getting 1,100 as my basic when I joined in the service. So, when I got out of that post, I stepped into practice. Reverend Father D. Arokyam, then procurator, immediately gave me 10 files for the audit, which was my bread and butter those days. I have sent in the greetings to Reverend Fathers in the materials what I have given about that. That gratitude only has elevated me. They used to say, forgiveness, compassion and gratitude will be the sources for the happiness. I used to tell all the people, I am one of the happiest persons in the world, no doubt. God has graced upon me like anything. Some time back, I had a small problem. We suspected it to be bruxism, that is biting the tooth. When I went to doctor, he said, do you have any stress? I told doctor, I am a stress-free man. I am the happiest man in the world. No stress. He said, something inner you may have, that is why you may be developing this problem. No chance, Father, there may be some other cause. They evaluated and they set it right. Like that, because of fathers, plenty of people, they have achieved great things. St. Joseph's College alumnus, our People's President Abdul Kalam became the first citizen of India. The topmost position in India is the presidency. That presidency has been conferred to a remote educated person, Abdul Kalam, and he has been elevated to the level of first citizen of India. So Jesuit fathers and sisters, they are contributing like anything. The persons like me will know the merit of fathers, because running small institutions like this, we find lot of difficulties. They have made massive institutions. Whenever I go to St. Joseph's, I used to get thrilled like anything. Every department is a separate arts college, like everything. My father used to love even the buildings of the St. Joseph. He had studied only 9th standard. He was very persistent in getting me admitted in St. Joseph. Those days, we stayed for 32 days and got the admission. For 95% only, in St. Joseph's, part admission would be given. For a 48%, admission was given, means because of the mercy of fathers. So like that, St. Joseph's and Loyola, they are more than universities, we know. Like that everywhere, if you take St. Mary's, St. Mary is the number one in Dindikal, always. Always institutions run by fathers and sisters are great everywhere. So I am a person who have come across the journey of my studies with fathers and sisters, which has elevated me. I am happy to share this because what the good you are doing, you may not know. But when you go outside, when you see the people like me who have enjoyed and who have harvested the fruits of it, when we tell you, you will understand that you are doing great things in life. So with this, I would like to switch over to my next session, recent developments in income tax and FCRA. So I would like to tell you basically about it. There is a good amendment in the later stages. Educational institutions up to 1 crore receipts, they need not have any registration and they need not have any approval. They can simply get along if their receipts are below 1 crore. It is not subject to audit. There is no necessity that you will have to conduct audit or comply with the provisions of audit and file the Form 10B. Then there is no condition that you will have to apply 85% of your receipts. No such compulsion is there. Suppose if you receive 1 crore receipt, the 1 crore you can accumulate. No condition that you will have to apply 85%. But you have to file your returns as per Section 139 every year. But in this special provision, we had a very good advantage. Suppose if there is one trust called St. Mary's Society, if it has got 5 educational institutions, one arts college, one school, one ITI, one polytechnic, one engineering college, if their receipts of 1 crore, per institution is 1 crore, that provision applies. That means they can get exempted up to 5 crores. They have 5 institutions. So for each institution, they can have that 1 crore limit. Then for medical institutions also like this, all the above stated conditions will apply. Then religious institutions, it is totally exempt, but anyway it is subject to audit. That 85% application provision is applicable. We all know that what 100% we get, we have to apply every year 85%. Only 15% we can accumulate. That condition of 80% will be there for religious institutions also. Then educational institutions above 1 crore, if it exceeds 1 crore, approval or registration is a must. If we want to go under Section 1023, we will have to have the approval. If we want to go under Section 12AA, we will have to have the 12AA registration. Then it is subject to audit. Again here that 85% application is a must. They have to file the income tax return in due date. Fathers, we very well know how the entity should be like trust, society, Section 8 companies, so on. These are all the things already known to us. So on special things like amendments on particular years, recently I would like to specify. Major amendment in 2019, rejection because of the non-compliance to other laws. Suppose if we have not complied with labor laws, if we have not complied with the FCRA provision, if we have not complied with the Provident Fund Act, then automatically cancellation is possible. Because other acts to be complied with, that is specified in the amendment. Then there is a 2% TDS on the withdrawal of the cash exceeding 1 crore. If you withdraw cash from our account exceeding 1 crore, then there will be a tax deduction of rupees, 2%. That is on the PAN basis. You may think that we can have accounts in different banks. In every bank 1 crore we can withdraw. That is not possible. So per PAN, suppose if you have got 5 accounts in 5 different banks, in toto you can withdraw only 1 crore. If it is exceeding that 1 crore, there will be a TDS of 2%. Then formerly, there were no powers to the commissioners to cancel the registration. They brought an amendment in 2019 that the CITs are empowered. Now the CIT means, the CIT exemption, he is empowered to cancel. Formerly, they could only recommend to the board to cancel it. Now that is not the case. He himself can cancel it. On what grounds cancellation is possible if the activities are not genuine? For non-genuineness, they can cancel it. And if it ceases its exemption, under section 11, we have got, and 13, there are certain things will forfeit the nature of the exemption of the trust or society or company. So if that thing happens in the trust, he can cancel it. Then again, as I told you earlier, if there is a deviation in compliance with the other laws, he can cancel it. Then procedure of the registration, you know, once we apply, they have to verify the documents and details, and it is to be proved about the genuineness of the activities of the organization. Then automatically the registration will be granted. If it is not the case, they will have to give an opportunity to the assessee, and the person has to represent, and they will say why registration should not be given. Once when they propose for rejection, they will tell you the reasons. If you are not able to defend it, they can reject the application. But whatever it is, the order has to be put within 6 months from the date of application of your application for the registration. These are all the major amendments as far as the NPOs are concerned in the year 2019. Then, in 2020, they brought another very massive amendment. Our 12A registration was perpetual. Once you register it, it held good till the time it is not cancelled. But the scenario was totally changed. In ATG, till some 5-6 years back, it was renewable every 3 years, but it was made to be perpetual before some amendments, I think in 2009. So it was brought like that. After that, the perpetuity was perpetuity was brought in. So once you get approved, get recognized, actually ATG is not an approval, it is a recognition. The recognition once given, it was perpetual. That has been changed. Now once in 5 years, we have to renew it. That is the scenario. If it is a new organization, they have to apply 1 month in advance before the previous year. And there will be a provisional registration given for 3 years. After that, they can renew it. If you already have registration under section 12, you can renew it for another 5 years. That has become mandatory. Why it has been made mandatory? They wanted to have a national register. Formerly, if they are given a 12A registration or 80 recognition, there will be record files with the commissioner who granted it. That was after some time when the designation was changed. That is, the jurisdictional commissioner was holding the charge of the trust societies, NPOs, but that was centralized. A separate commissioner called CIT exemption was posted in the state level, and all the NPOs came under his control. All files had the records about the 12A registration and ATG were transferred to the CIT exemptions. They could not hold all the files in their office. They had to hire out a godown like where they are maintaining. in order to avoid such difficulties, they wanted to maintain a national register. Then, for every organization, they wanted to give one unique number in India based. So that they wanted to maintain. Then why they wanted to maintain these registers? They wanted, once it is not renewed, once it becomes defunct, once it is become inactive, they wanted to weed out from the register. They want to take this out. Because trusts are registered by plenty of people like mushrooming, but their activities are confined to about 10% or 15%. Rest of the 80% work for the department is laborious, which is of no use and not relevant. That is why they wanted to have this system. This renewal is once in 5 years. Then for new registration, as I told you, they will give for 3 years. After that, it will be renewed. Formerly, we were riding on 2 horses. One section under 1023C, another under 12A registration, 11 applications and all. But that is not the case. Once you opt for 1023 registration, you cannot opt for 12AA. Once you go under 12AA, you cannot have 1023. So only in one horse we can ride, but we can change over. For changeover, we have to apply at least 6 months in advance to the previous year of the assessment year. So we can change over, but we cannot ride on 2 horses. We cannot take the benefit of benefits of the provisions of the 2 sections. Then the same thing for 80G also, it is to be renewed. Once in 5 years it is to be renewed. Why it has been brought? It's a benefit to donors. Now, every time we will have to update certain records to the income tax department, like what we do for TDS. So what the amount has received, from whom, the mode, purpose for what. These things we will have to update. This will automatically give the credit of the donation to the donee. So, to the donor. So automatically, formerly we used to give a receipt. That receipt should be with the stamp of the recognition under section 80G, containing the number and everything. That they will have to produce. That is to be stamped. These formalities were there. That has been totally now done away with. So once we get the amount, we will have to input to the income tax department. Once we input to the department, what happens? Automatically that person gets the credit for that amount. Then validity of the reapproval within 3 months. We have to apply for the validity of the approval within 3 months. For 5 years it will be given. Before the expiry, 6 months we will have to apply for the renewal. For new cases, we have to renew it after 3 years. Then cash donation is restricted only to rupees 2,000. Till some time, there were no maximum limit. Any amount of donation could be given by way of cash. But that has been done away with. Now only 2,000, up to 2,000 they can give by way of cash donation. These are all the main amendments under section, in income tax in 2020. In 2021, there is a very, very massive amendment. Corpus donation, formerly we said corpus donation, we can have it in any form of investment like. Now it has to comply with the section 11(5) of the income tax. What the corpus donation you get, you cannot keep in any form other than the modes which has been stipulated under section 11(5). It has to comply with that. Then application of corpus no longer permitted to be set off against current year income. Under current year income, you cannot have a set off of the previous corpus donation. Then application out of the loans and borrowings. Formerly, if we get a loan from a bank 1 crore, if we build a building for 1 crore, that 1 crore was taken into account of the application. For 85% we can take. Now that is not the case. If you have spent the money on capital expenditure or revenue expenditure out of the loans borrowed, only the repayment of that loan is the application. Suppose this year you get 1 crore, and if you spend on building, formerly this 1 crore was our expenditure, that is applied. Now that 1 crore is not applied. So next year you are repaying 20 lakhs. That 20 lakhs only is applied in the subsequent year. Next to next year, if you are repaying 20 lakhs, that 20 lakhs is the only amount which can be stated to be applied. That is a massive thing. Then set off of the past deficit, like set off, carry forward and set off. Former deficit could be carried forward and it could be adjusted in the subsequent years. That is not the permissible. Once 1 year deficit comes, that is the end. That deficit cannot be taken forward. That cannot be set off in the subsequent years. Then again, the fantastic best amendment is, formerly that 1 crore is not relevant. To make things understood, I explained about the 1 crore receipt. Now it is totally changed. The scenario is different. So educational or medical institutions are exempt up to 5 crore receipts. Up to 5 crores, they are exempt. For that, without any condition, no approval, no registration, no application of 85%. The 5 crores limit is, I told you one great advantage when I was explaining about that 1 crore exemption. 1 crore exemption was for individual units. So St. Mary's Trust with 5 colleges, in 5 colleges he is making 1 crore, 1 crore, 1 crore, 5 crore, and he was eligible under that section. In this section, they are not eligible like that. Per entity, St. Mary's has got 5 institutions. If 5 institutions makes 5 crores, 5 crores, 5 crores, 5 crores, not 25 crores exempted. Only overall limit of 5 crores is exempted. Then again, in this amendment, formerly we could file the belated and revised returns up to 31st of the March. Now that has been brought down to 31st of the December. These are all the main provisions has been brought in 2021 by way of amendments. Fathers, if you have any doubts on these things, you can ask me. I can clarify. I am almost, Father?
Amendments in 2021, number 2, application of corpus, no longer permission to be set off against current year.
Yes, Father. Father, suppose we have the corpus amount received 5 years back. We used to spend it in the current year. In that current year, we had been taking it as an application. Suppose St. Mary's received 1 crore 5 years back by way of corpus donation. That is applied during this year. So what we do, what the revenue expenditure and capital expenditure we take it as the application. But in this case, what the donation we received that year, if we spend this year, then you cannot take it into application. Am I clear, Father? Any other doubts from Father?
I want something on how much is the cash in hand balance for a registered society end of the financial year?
Father, absolutely, as per income tax, as far as my knowledge goes, there is no stipulation. But under FCRA, they have brought 2,000. They brought a Public Trust Act. They brought a Public Trust Act. Actually, we all know that what are all the advantages of trust, what are all the advantages of societies, what are all the advantages of Section 8 companies, what are all its disadvantages, what are all its disadvantages. But we had been having a very good advantages in trust because there were no control over by the government. Only we had to go by the provisions. We need not get any certificates. Other than income tax and FCRA regulations, there were no need of compliance to the governments. If it is a company under Section 8, we have to comply with the Companies Act, we have to comply with the Register of Companies requirements. If it is a society, we have to comply with the Register of Societies, such things. Such things are not needed in trust. That was the case. But unfortunately, government of Tamil Nadu brought an act, Tamil Nadu Public Charitable Trust Act, which had the same controlling mechanism like Register of Societies or Register of Companies. But fortunately, that bill was not passed. Then FCRA, we know, usually it was perpetual. Unless it was cancelled, it held good. But again, now it has become renewable. Then they brought a main thing, first stage, they stipulated 50% only is allowed for administrative expenditure. That has been now reduced to 20%. But if you want to spend more than that, we can get central government permission. That is actually bottleneck to the organizations. In any organization, administrative expenses will be more if you want to maintain. But stringently they have brought to 20%. That is a problem. Then under Rule 5, they have totally explained about administrative expenditure. What is administrative expenditure? If salary is paid to the staff of the program, that is also included under administrative expenditure. That is not excluded. But only thing which are excluded is capital expenditure. If we spend capital expenditure, that is not included in administrative expenditure. Details of the administrative expenditure used to be reported to the government. It is mandatory. Then there may be a question, should we maintain a separate ledger and daybook for administrative expenditure? That is not needed. But somehow or other, it should be in a position to explicitly say what are our administrative expenditure. If administrative expenditure exceeds, what is the remedy for that? There is a penalty, like compounding. That compounding is 1 lakh or 5% of the amount spent in excess of 20% of the administrative expenditure stipulated, whichever is the higher. Then the administrative expenditure has been explained. My partner C.A. INR, he had sent me some articles yesterday to me that I went through last night. I wanted to send to all the fathers to have a first glimpses of it. But as I was not having the numbers, I have requested Reverend Father Procurator, Reverend Father Marie Joseph, saying that I will send those articles to you. He can transmit to you fathers. If you go through that, at the maximum for fathers, it may take 1 hour. It will have a detailed comparison of what is what. There is no need of having Latin language for that. Any simple language, detailedly explained. Those who are knowing the basics of audit, income tax, FCRA, they can very well comprehend that. I will send it to Reverend Father and he will transmit to you. Then one main point I would like to tell you is, if suppose some salary is paid to your staff for his collection and analysis of the data of the program, that is not coming under administrative expenditure. Suppose if you are paying the doctor's salary for a program, then that is not coming under the administrative expenditure. If you pay teacher's salary in a school, that is not an administrative expenditure. Like that they have explained. If you want to spend more than 20%, you can very well, but you will have to get the approval from the central government. Then you all know designated accounts concept was brought in. In one account we will have to have the gateway of our incoming at Delhi. Then subsequent accounts of each project you can have in any scheduled banks or whatever may be, and you can maintain that. But the incoming should be only through that. Transfer of the amount from that gateway account to your other account, they will charge. Then they have specified about certain do's and don'ts. But actually, as a lay people, in general, we used to do a lot of things that we are not supposed to do. Those things have been specially specified. One, no mixing of the account. With your domestic account, don't mix up your foreign account. Don't transfer your foreign money to your local account and spend. Like that, don't transfer your local account to your FC account and spend. Don't mix up. Then they have stated, for FCA works, don't rely on middlemen. The website is very clear. It is portrayal, explanatory, compliance friendly. So you can very well rely on the website. On your own you can do. You need not rely on the middleman for registration and other works or FCRA. Then no deviation. For the money, FCRA money, what you have received, don't deviate the grant to some other purpose other than the purpose for which it was granted. Don't use ATMs. Don't use debit cards. Suppose a father goes to a village, he wants money for a project, he don't think that you can take the money from ATM. Don't give debit cards. Suppose if you go and purchase something, you want to swipe the debit card, don't do that. Then discourage the withdrawal of the cash. Don't put your money in speculation, speculative business. Don't put your money of the FC in speculative business. Don't accept foreign hospitality without prior permission. Don't transfer to the unregistered organization. Don't transfer your FC money to an unregistered organization. A project may be carried out by an unregistered organization. Don't transfer your money. If that is the case, get the voucher, you straight away pay the amount. Then don't utilize your FC money for administrative expenditure. Please don't accept foreign contribution when you do not have registration or when you don't have a prior permission. Only when you have got the registration or prior permission, you accept the foreign contribution. When your FC account, FC registration is under suspension, don't accept FC, thinking that our suspension will be revoked. Once there is a suspension, during that time, don't accept. Don't accept when your FC account is cancelled. No acceptance on undisclosed account. Your designated account is the account through which you have to get. Don't accept in your undisclosed account. Try to file your annual returns on time. They say don't avoid annual returns filing. You file. Like that, don't give false statements, false accounts, false vouchers. Then, don't deliver articles, currencies, bullions by way of contribution. Then, no contradiction of the provisions of the FCRA Act. Don't contravene the provisions of the FCRA Act. As I am tied up with so many things, I used to keep myself little away, not fully away from my professional expertise. But this is what I could simply glance through last night and the notes taken. I have got two partners with me. They are eminent, they are full-time, activative, operative. They are doing it. One is CA Amuda, another is CA INR. Then we have got juniors, about 40 persons under us. All are competent, they are doing it. We have branched out to Ottanjatharam, Madurai and Chennai. Our head office is in Dindigul. In the folders we have given, we have put our visiting card also. If any fathers want special doubts to be cleared, it can be, because I am not only a chartered accountant, my advisors on transactions also. One special thing I tell you, fathers, if you want to register a property by way of gift to a trust or society or Section 8 company, see that that company enjoys the recognition of ATG. You have got a special provision, 50% concession in the stamp duty. You need not pay stamp duty for 50%. That is the best advantage which are not known to the ordinary people. Chartered accountants also may not know that much on this. As I took over a college, I converted, I understood the nuances of transfer of the college and takeover of the institution, alienation of the property. Then again, I tell you, don't worry about the capital gains when you are incurring a sale transaction. Because for trust, we have got a wider exemption. If you simply put the amount in the bank as deposit for 6 months, you are out of the bracket of your capital gains. Like that, important things, fathers, if you come across some special cases, you can contact me. What the best knowledge I have got on it, I can throw light. After, Father?
I was under the impression that using debit card or credit card is safe, but now you have some reservation on that.
Yes, sir. That reservation has been specifically told by the FCRA division in letter and spirit, in white and block. Don't use ATM cards and debit cards. They have been very specific on it. It's better we avoid, Father. Yeah.
In alienation of property,
Yes, Father.
the capital gains that you get.
Yes, Father.
Now, is there any restriction with regard to these allocations, other than any capital expenses?
Father, we have got some exemptions of what this amount we spent on particular capital asset. That exemption is there, Father. Apart from that, simply you keep that amount under deposit for 6 months, that is exempted, Father. Once after withdrawal after 6 months, you can use for any other purpose. Anyway. Yeah. Very, yes, Father.
When we have so many units and so many expenses,
Yes, Father.
like even the vegetables, right? Vegetables
Hmm.
alone,
Yes, Father.
in some bigger places, we have to spend it cash.
Yes, Father.
Is there any way to get around?
Father, actually, Father, we were under barter system, Father. Then we came to metal system, Father. Then we came to coins, Father. Then we came to currency, Father. Then digital money, Father. So there is no way, Father. Initially it will look like that, but days are not farer, Father. We will get accustomed to it. Father, everybody knows 2,000 rupees for a big organizations like, it's very difficult, Father. Yeah.
Also, the cash donation is,
Yeah, yes, Father. Yeah, to the.
what is the maximum withdrawal?
Father,
Withdrawal also 2,000.
Father, Father, if you have got money, you can withdraw, Father. Because suppose I am giving you 10,000 rupees by way of check, donation. If you want that 10,000 rupees, you can withdraw. Suppose you want to spend for 1,000 like that, you can withdraw. You can withdraw, Father. There is no stipulation for withdrawal, Father. Withdrawal, Father. Father, thank you very much, Father. I know fathers, they have proved their mettle, they have set marks, they have set records, they have scaled great heights. Every father is more than 5-6 IAS officers. I used to tell my friends, everybody with that much of knowledge. This small financial matter may not be a big thing. Only thing, they are on rotation. One father is superior somewhere, again minister, again procurator, treasurer. Since their portfolios are changing, they may have small difficulties in getting things understood and clarified. After thanking you and all, we have arranged a small lunch, Father. Be our guest. It will be our pleasure, Father. Thank you, Father.
Thank you very much, Dr. Karthikeyan, for your inspiring as well as informative sharing this morning. I was touched by your sense of gratitude to all the sisters and fathers who have been a part of your life, especially your 3 words, the key to happiness and forgiveness, compassion or mercy, and gratitude. I think that's something that all of us can carry in our hearts as we leave this place. You are an accomplished personality. Listening to you has inspired us as well, I'm sure. And thank you for your sharing about the income tax and FCRA amendments that have come into force in the recent years, and for clarifying the doubts that we had. So thank you very much. Okay. I also thank CA INR for sharing your knowledge with us. I now call upon Father Anthony Sami to say a few words.
I think Mrs. Franklin D. Roosevelt, it's she one who uttered this. What I am today is because of the decisions I made yesterday. Listening to your journey, as you mentioned, Dr. Karthikeyan, it was very inspiring because of the steps you already took and which has brought you up to this level of competence and professionally and otherwise. A wonderful, multifaceted personality that you are with your accomplishments, definitely. You know, a chartered accountant, an MBA, and a doctorate in many things. It's a rare combination of, professional as well as educational, basically involved in promoting education with multiple, disciplinary institutions. I feel it is a kind of an extension of a Jesuit institution, flowering outside. It's so wonderful to, hear from your mouth. Thank you for spending some time with us and clarifying for us the recent amendments. We are also grappling with how to, in a way, to understand this so as to adhere to the compliances that the government expects in the sector of service providers, We consider ourselves as service providers, not any profiteering, institutions that we run. So therefore, with your knowledge, it was like a torrential rain that was coming in. So wonderful. I wish we could spend more time still clarifying. But thank you for inviting us and giving a wonderful welcome with your staff here and a wonderful arrangement and for the exposition. So on behalf of the treasurers of the South Asian Assistancy, what we call is all over India and Nepal and other countries also, a big thank you to you and to your entire staff. And we wish that these institutions grow much, much more and more in the coming days with God's grace. Thank you.